Koreans have dominated every single esports game out there since the dawn of time. The real question is, will they dominate Valorant too? Nuturn, the team representing Korea, will be going to Iceland. Here's an analysis on how they play Valorant. I'm going to be breaking this video down into 3 segments. Firstly, I'm going to talk about how they approach map bans. Then I'm going to talk about their unique economic approach to the game. And finally, I'm going to break down their offense and defense strategies for all the maps that have VODs on. For map choices, Koreans do not play Icebox. It's banned at all times until the grand finals, where there are no bans. Koreans hate playing Icebox, and so do the Europeans. So Team Liquid is very similar in this regard, where they don't play the map until the grand finals as well. The reason being, Icebox is probably one of the most fight intensive maps and one that NA actually enjoys. The A side is usually a bloodbath, and teams like Sentinels, FaZe, and version 1 force interactions through pushing aggressively and taking fights. Since both EU and Korea both kind of tend to play slower and more methodical, I can see why it's disliked. Nuturn's best and most played map is Bind, with an 83% win rate in 24 games. If you look at NA in contrast, Bind is probably one of the least played maps for top tier teams. Version 1 straight up bans the map every time and have played a total of 4 games on the map. The teleporters and chokehold areas are a big turnoff for NA teams who are fight hungry, because on defense, you kind of have to wait for the plant or else the offense can just teleport and it becomes a big ring around the rosy scenario. So I think something that Nuturn really does well is their approach on their economics. When they win pistol rounds, they usually buy 3 SMGs and 2 ghosts. When they win the next round, they play 2 rifles for the duelists and then 3 SMGs. This actually gives them a very good chance to win that bonus round. This also actually doesn't hurt their economy whatsoever, because they saved it the previous round. When they do lose the pistol round, they actually go for a full sheriff buy, because if they do win that, they actually snowball their economy really hard. When you take a look at their Ascent game against Damwon, they actually lost 3 rounds in a row, but they were still able to buy the whole 3 rounds. And even on the 4th one, it was a scuff buy, but it was barely enough to scrape by for another full rifle round. The only map that they don't really force on is Split, because they understand that that map is just a crazy one-sided map. If you lose on defense, you might as well save and then win out the rest. Alright, so here I'm going to break down the defense strategies and the offense strategies of basically all the maps they play. Unfortunately though, we don't have any Haven VODs for their newer team comp. On that map, they run Cypher, Jett, Omen, Sage, and Sky. But I'm going to start off with their strongest map, which is Bind. This is a map that they definitely have the most variations on and they adapt the best at. Their team comp is Jett, Raze, Omen, Breach, and Sova. On defense, for their pistol round, they actually have very diverse strategies that they pick depending on what the enemies do. They also use their pistol round strategies in eco rounds if they have to. So here is the A stack strategy. Omen is at top bench, Raze is posted on triple, and Breach is gonna be with Jett to fight in U-Haul. If the enemies go showers, the Raze will get first contact, and if they ever manage to come out of showers, Omen will then take contact through a crossfire. If the enemies go short, the Breach takes first contact, and the Jett trades him off if he dies. The setup basically guarantees a trade no matter what. If the enemies actually hit B though, the Sova plays retake at elbow. The advantage of this setup is that even if they don't go A, all the 4 characters from A sites still have utility for the retake to happen. The offense actually has to pour a bunch of utilities such as smokes, flashes, and recon just to get onto site. The setup basically guarantees them an advantage on defense no matter what. Now this is just one setup. Here's the B stack setup that they also use. At the beginning of the round, they have Sova, Raze, Jett, and Breach at the long side. This is a heavy counter towards the default heavy offense style that a lot of teams play in Korea. The 4 players walk down and try to take contact with whoever they see first. Omen's goal as a solo A player is to just survive and play retake with his team. Notice how he doesn't use any utility at all and saves his flash for the retake. Again, this is very similar to the A stack strategy, where the anchor just plays for retake and the stack just comes back and pours util. Again, since the enemy used a lot of util just to take A, they always have an advantage with this setup. Nuturn's default and anti-eco strat is this setup here. They have Raze and Omen playing on the A side passively, while on the B side they're very proactive with Breach, Jett, and Sova. If the enemies peek long or hookah, Breach is actually there in the back line, ready to flash or dump util for Sova or Jett to peek. If they come hookah, he flashes with a lineup from sight and allows the Sova to peek for information or get a kill. If they go long, he fault lines and has flashes to support the Jett on that fight too. If the enemies hit A, the Omen holds U-Haul and the Raze hangs back around triple area and has a nade lineup to deny the truck plant. The A players then wait for the rotate from B and then they retake together as a team. It's very similar in regards if the enemies hit B, they just wait for the rotate from A and then they pour util Sentinel to retake together as a team. The most important and consistent thing that Nuturn values a lot is that Sova is alive for the retake all the time. He always paths to elbow and stays alive until his teammates rotate from A to B. Sova as a character is broken in competitive play because of the amount of information he gets for free and how safe it is. If you look at this round, the Sova uses ultimate to basically stall the plant, and then afterwards the Raze and Omen, who are left alive, just dump util and try to get on site for a fast retake. Here's a setup they use if Jett has an op. Instead of Omen smoking the shower side, they actually play Jett and breach there to anchor it. The Omen instead just one-way smokes short and jiggles to watch it from truck side. The B players just play passively and try to get information with their utility. Sova recon arrows long and Raze Roombas outside hookah. In showers, if the Jett ever wants to peek with the op, the breach actually assists her with a flash before she peeks every time. This guarantees her safety, and if the enemies are actually in showers, they're screwed. So one of the more unique and aggressive defensive setups they use is when Jett has knives and they combo it with breach and showers. The Sova actually shoots an arrow from long into the teleporter to help reveal anybody outside of showers. On offense, they actually hold and play default a lot of the times at the beginning of the round. They assign 3 different agents to cover 3 major areas of the map. Sova is responsible for long B, Raze for hookah, and Omen for showers. The Jett and breach are usually floating around the map to apply pressure on wherever they think they need map control in. Depending on the information they get, they'll make a decision maybe based off of utility left on site for the enemy team. If they decide to execute A, the Sova actually rotates from long back into cave and goes to drone into showers for his team to push out. In short, the Jett dashes in and tries to make space for his team, while the breach is in the back line flashing for him so the Jett can hopefully get a pick. If they execute B, it's usually when they actually have a pick or two on site, because dropping out of hookah and going out onto B is actually very difficult. For their eco strategy and offense, they actually buy sheriffs and try to hold for the beginning of the push for a long time. They look for these short one-tap fights, and if they don't get anything, they basically just end up going back to A and they try to do a normal execute to see what happens. A unique and fast-paced strategy they use is again the Jett breach combo with Sova assisting with the recon arrow. Alright, that's it for buying. Now we're on to the next map, Split. They run Jett, Raze, Killjoy, Breach, and Omen here. So on defense, Killjoy and Omen are usually the anchors for their respective sites. When they have the Jett op though, that's when things switch around. Let's start with how they run their pistol round. They have Breach, Killjoy, and Raze on the A side while they leave Jett and Omen on B. If the enemies hit B, the Omen and Jett just back up and wait for the full retake with the teammates that are rotating from A. The execution is very important here for the retake. Firstly, Killjoy gets the information that there are no lurkers in mid. He times this with Raze coming out of heaven, stairs, and clears the entire mail room. Once the rest of the team on CT is set up, the Jett dashes into back pillar and takes space for the team. Now this is really scary for the Jett player in hell and the Cypher player hiding in this corner. The players from heaven basically drop down as the Jett dashes in to get a perfect crossfire timing going on. To clear back site, the Omen first smokes off back right, so it forces the enemy team to swing out of the smoke. Meanwhile, the breach flashes pillar and allows the duelist to go through to fight back site. If the enemies hit A, unfortunately I don't have the VODs for it, but here's a general idea of the setup. Raze basically hides in rafters and swings out when the alarm bot takes contact. While this is happening, the Jett actually rotates from mail into vents for a crossfire to happen if needed. In the meantime, while the enemies are on site, Breach and Killjoy actually have a crossfire from flower pot and site. If they're stuck in the chokehold, the Breach flashes and the Raze or Killjoy peeks out for a free kill. For the anti-eco strat, we have Omen anchoring B, Killjoy anchoring A, with Raze, Breach, and Jett in mid looking for a fight. Since the anchors have rifle advantages, they usually take the long range fight at around the screens area for A and back right for B. With the alarm bot set up at vents, there's no way they can get behind the Jett that's playing in vents. Again, depending where the enemies go, the mid players just rotate onto the site that they're hitting and pour utils to play fast retake with the gun advantage. If they're on eco, they actually just stack towards the entrance of the sites and they try to get as many as they can. They're a bit more proactive at B due to the fact that they do have breach utility and smokes to work with. Since Split is such a defense-sided map, they actually tend to find themselves with a lot of economy, which normally means the op is pulled out a lot. Here are the 3 setups that they use when Jett has the op. If the Jett covers B, the Killjoy and Omen actually anchor A together, while the Breach and Raze hold mail. Breach actually has an option of flashing either mail or B main. If the Jett ops A, he actually plays very close and takes the early shot, with Killjoy at ramps defending him. And finally, when Jett goes mid, the Killjoy just holds A ramps and basically plays for a retake on site. A mix-up strategy that they use is this turret in B main. The strategy I think is used to guard the B orb with almost a guaranteed chance to get a kill. When the turret takes contact, the breach actually flashes and the Jett swings out and goes for the frag. If things do go south though, the Jett can just dash away. There's no risk involved. Another cool aggressive strategy that they use is if the Raze has ulti, they just swing out a mid and take a fight, while the anchors just chill and play retake. On offense, their style of defaulting and anti-eco are very slow and methodical. On the A side of the map, Killjoy and a duelist are usually slowly working their way up onto ramps and getting information on A site, while Breach on B basically holds the push. The first stage of the default is A working up into ramps and getting into a good position, while simultaneously the mid tries to work up and hold that area of the map. From here on out, it depends on what the enemy team gives them, and they'll pick from the multiple strategies they have from there. On an eco, their primary objective is actually just to get a plant on this map, considering it's very difficult to win an offense round. If they're going for an A plant, they have the Killjoy carry out the bomb with a duelist assisting them. The B players basically entry very aggressively and sell a hard fake for hopefully the Killjoy to get a plant. If their goal is to plant for B, the A slowly work up onto site and ramps to try to take control of the map and see what they can pull from the rotate. A strategy they use when they have Raze ult on offense is a hard and fast rush onto site for A. With the early satchel setup, they combo it with a breach flash and Jett knives to try to take control of the site. Alright, onto the last map, we're on Ascent. On pistol round defense, this is their setup. They have Jett and Astra peeking A main with a one-way smoke, while Sova and Killjoy cover B and jiggle for contact. The Sky just jiggles cat to see if they slowly crawl up. If the enemies hit A, the Sky falls back to heaven and tries to get a three-way cross going on. They use this setup to hopefully trade and wait for the B players to rotate and retake. On the retake, the Sova basically provides information for the team to push onto site and hopefully get some frags. If the enemies go B, the Killjoy and Sova go on site and play around this turret that takes contact first. There are nano swarms that cover stairs, so there's no way the enemies will push into there. All they have to look for in this setup is lane. As the team is holding them off, the A players rotate and they play a fast retake. On the anti-eco, they actually play a more aggressive B setup. They set up the Killjoy turret at the entrance of B site. Instead of recon arrowing into the Odin, they actually use the turret to take contact, and then the Sova sprays through this wall with the Odin. On A site, they hold the orb with a one-way and two more orbs to set up for a suck and a concuss. Since they do have a gun advantage, they don't mind taking that 1v1 fight with all this utility threat in front of them. If Killjoy has ulti, she actually sets up at B every time. This is mostly for if the enemies go B and plant, they have Killjoy alive for the retake. On an eco round, they push down on both cat and middle and try to take control of tiles. In the meantime, Killjoy is actually pushing down B as well to get information for the team on mid. If they do see someone, they pincer them from mid and try to get as many kills as they can. If they have Sova ult, they don't mind 4-stacking for the Sinatraa ult setup. I don't have a round that has him ulting, but I'm 90% sure that that's what they were going for, considering they recon arrowed right here on A. On offense, for their default, they actually use their Jett to bait out certain areas of the map, mostly the mid and tree area. If the Jett is going mid, the Sova drones him into mid bottom safely. They station the Jett there while simultaneously the Killjoy looks for information on tree. At all times while they're working mid, there are teammates watching A and B in case of the push. If they decide to put the Jett to work tree, they combo the Sky Flash with a lineup from Sova that he shoots from tiles that lands above where the trees are. With this default, they rarely commit right away after a pick. They look for more information and they execute together once they're all grouped up. The other offense strategy they have is the A rush, with Killjoy watching the flank on B. The execution is very important for this setup. So it starts off with Sky flashing and Sova recon darting exactly at the same time. Right when those two come out, the Jett smokes and dashes to the right side, shooting whoever gets pinged by the recon dart. It's very difficult for the enemies to shoot this recon because they're basically blind at the same time. Both the Sova and the Sky are also right behind the Jett, ready to trade her. They also time the orb smokes to come out exactly when the recons and the Sky flashes come out, so it doesn't reveal early to the enemies that they're going to this site. Alright, that's basically it for this video. I know it was super long and I'm sorry guys, but I hope you guys learned something from this. I'm really excited to watch Korea play in Iceland, and hopefully you guys watch this video before you watch the Iceland tournaments to see at least if they use any of the strats that I talked about. Alright, if this helped you, please like, comment, and subscribe on this video, and look forward to the next one. Peace.